Hey, thanks for clicking on one of our videos. If you're a Baylor fan, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell if you want to join us for a live stream soon. This is Please Bear With Me. Enjoy. Pete, you've interviewed Sawyer Robertson. You've talked a lot about Sawyer Robertson. You heard me and Terrance bantering just a little bit. There's a lot of hype around Sawyer Robertson right now, especially amongst Baylor fans. How do you feel we should be rating him? What should our expectations be? Are we crazy for thinking that he is arguably the best quarterback Baylor's had in a decade? How do you view him as someone who's probably not as biased as maybe me or Terrance?
Well, I can only speak to what I've seen. I'm going to take these off a little bit because I'm getting a little feedback. I've seen him play, right? I've seen him start a couple games that I've had the opportunity to call. Like you guys said, I've interviewed him. And I've watched him so closely ever since I've been in Waco, and obviously he's been in Waco the whole time I've been here. I'll say this. We were talking about Shapen, or you guys were. And when he got hurt in that Texas State game, that opener, Sawyer came in, and then Sawyer got dinged up. So I felt like that whole 2023 season, we really never saw Sawyer. And this is me not being a football savant like you guys are. I thought he was just trash. I was like, this kid's not good. He can't run the offense. It's also, and that whole year was just tough to watch. I mean, I try to stay indifferent. Obviously, I do when I'm calling games, but I'm always pulling for Baylor. Scotty will tell you that. And it was a really frustrating situation. The offense was anemic. It was pretty easy to lose interest almost in Baylor as a team because it was so hard to watch. And he was at the controls a lot of times. And even when you threw up that spider web for Shapen, he was so much better than Sawyer when he was in there. So it was really hard to get a gauge on this dude. And then I was so pumped, that he was coming off the bench. I really was to begin this season. I didn't think he should start. What's the kid's name? It's escaping me. The guy who started the season.
Finn.
Yeah. So DeQuan Finn was so exciting. I was so pumped to see him play because I thought he would bring excitement, and also I thought he would bring wins, and he could run the ball and throw the ball. And I had no idea how good Sawyer was. I really didn't. And then when he came and he started to play, and the one thing that you guys didn't talk about, which why would you? Terrance, you can speak to this more than any of us, but the dude is his leadership is the one thing you always hear about. That's like an intangible that's not on that web, right? Every player you talk to, and I know Terrance has talked to a bunch, I've talked to a couple, everybody you talk to is like, this guy, he's so easy to get behind. And there is the team just follows him. And since when he became the starter, I think everybody kind of started to play a little bit more together. And I think he was probably partially responsible for that. As far as his tools as a quarterback, I think that 2015 Seth Russell year and Sawyer's year last year, when you look at them on paper, they're almost carbon copies. Sawyer, I think they both had 28 touchdowns. Sawyer had 8 picks.
The difference being Seth did it in 7 games.
Okay, that's 2015, right? Yeah. Well, but Seth did it with Corey Coleman. I mean, that's one thing. Corey Coleman was out of his mind good. And he also had, who was the other? There was another really good receiver on that team.
Katie Cannon was on that team.
Katie Cannon. Yeah, was just electric. So now you have it this year. Baylor had a bevy of strong receivers, solid receivers, but nobody that was as explosive as Corey Coleman. So I think that was some of the drop off in some of the explosive numbers. But I'm super excited. I think that Baylor fans should be sky high about Sawyer Robertson. But to Terrance's point, this year is I don't know what's going to come of this year. I'm excited. I'm optimistic. But once the bullets start flying again, remember now, all these defensive coordinators have seen Sawyer Robertson for a whole season now. It's like a pitcher in the major leagues after his first 10 starts. It's like, okay, we've seen you. And then things can change awfully quick. We saw that happen with Blake Shapen. We were so excited about him coming into 2022. And obviously that we came crashing back down to earth on that one real quick. But yeah, so that's kind of an answer to your question, Scotty, where I stand right now.